Welcome to Season 6 of the Long-Winded One podcast. This is Spoiler Sessions, LitRPG, the only show where spoilers don't spoil anything. We're digging into fan theories, side characters, and the lore authors left in the drawer.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Season 6 of the podcast. This is Spoiler Sessions. And I have a session tonight that I'm really excited about. It's been probably months in the making, Travis and Heath, wouldn't you say? I think when I first
December
contacted
2025.
you. Oh, I'm planning ahead there. And as you can see, my guest tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, Shirtaloon. Travis, thank you for being here.
Good day, man.
Heath Miller, thank you for being here. And I didn't realize until I think it was this month that we were New Englanders, living in the same geographic region. So that's very cool. And we are only a month out from LitRPG Con when we're all going to get to see each other. Yeah. Now, before we went live, Heath, Travis, you were talking about the last time you saw each other. Was that right, Heath? You were telling a story?
Yeah, I was just saying that the only time we've been in the geographical same space was 4 or so years ago in Western Australia, where we had a sandwich, and not the same sandwich. We had separate sandwiches.
No, you met my mom.
I did. Yeah, it was great. And then we were obviously didn't end up at the LitRPG Con last year. We were doing. Travis was on the screen and I was there in person, so that was kind of being in the same.
I've been home
place.
less than 24 hours after 4 months away recovering.
You look, Travis. So you look great. The last time I saw you on camera was at LitRPG Con 2025.
I was still deep in the muscle atrophy from the coma in the hospital and all of that. Then, yeah.
Well, I still remember you said, dirt made you sick. So it stuck with me.
Indeed, it did.
Yeah. Well, I can I tell you a little secret? So, He Who Fights with Monsters had been on my TBR for a really long time. And we work and we listen to this great genre that is LitRPG, and there's so many good things to read out there. But it was Heath, when you hosted Travis last year at LitRPG Con. Travis, it was just I felt like I got to know you a little bit, and it really made me want to pick up He Who Fights, and I did, and it's great. But it's going to be really great to see you in person and meet you in person this summer.
Yeah, no, I was really sad to miss LitRPG Con last year. It was the first one. I really would have liked to have been there, but yes, obviously circumstances.
You were still a headliner.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be there this year, unless something else god awful happens.
Don't say that.
It's fine. I think I've had my turn. So yeah, no, it'll be good. Heath and I'll get to see each other a few times in July.
Yeah, yes. Well, you're bringing Travis. You're coming over with Rhino and with Haylock. Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice, very good.
We're all going to pile into a plane for 15 hours.
Yeah. Well, listen, I feel like I could, just talk for a really long time, but we have some questions from the community. Normally I drill right into I want to know about the lore. We talk about fan theories and side characters. We actually have some of those too. But I sent you the questions ahead of time, so these are no surprises or anything. I mean, there'll be surprises for the people listening,
and for me.
And for Heath, I didn't. Yes, everything's a secret now. Sometimes I apologize for that, Heath. And if you folks in the chat have some questions that you just are burning to ask, please put them in the chat. I actually have some questions from folks in the chat. But we're going to start with the other legend here, Geneva. And I'm not sure what this means. So Travis, you're going to have to tell us all what this means. It's a very straightforward question. There are two characters actually that I know of in your series with this name. So if it's related to that character, you're gonna have to tell me. Okay, Geneva's question is Craig coming to the con?
No, Craig is an actual person.
Okay, all right. Well, Craig is also, I believe, a vampire.
No, Craig is the name of a character who first appears in book 4. Actually, yeah, he's the name of 2 characters. There's someone else who gets killed off.
A bandit.
Yeah, that was actually a reference to a film called Tonga Ninja. It's a little New Zealand film starring Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords.
Yes.
I absolutely adore that film, and it's about a ninja from the island of Tonga. And and he's attacking some compound in New Zealand that is inexplicably guarded by a bunch of ninjas, and he just kills some ninja. And one of the other, some other ninjas come up. I was like, oh no, they killed Craig. So yes, it was Craig the ninja. But no, Craig was actually my media studies professor.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, he's now a friend of mine in my board gaming group, and he is an absolute delight of a person, and he will be coming to LitRPG.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's amazing, and I think that was worth the story. I love it when I get these questions from folks, and there's like a good story behind them. But yes, so there's Craig the vampire in the series, right? And then there's Craig the bandit, who is no longer with us.
No, he died immediately.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, I have a question for you now, Heath, because I'm curious. I've talked with like a ton of narrators over the years, and I'm curious, like when you're talking with authors, they like to know, most narrators like to know, okay, is this person going to stick around? Because, right, if they're going to stick around, like how complicated should I make this voice? So the question for you for this series, because you've narrated 13 of them now, I believe, right? The 13th is coming out soon.
Yeah, October. Yeah.
October.
Okay. So the question for you is, what voice has been the most difficult to maintain over the last 13 books?
I will say, Travis has very helpfully, some of the latter ones, I do remember getting some notes saying like, oh, hey, this character's only in towards the end, but they're going to be like, in the next book, quite a bit. And that's always great. Like if an author takes the time to give you that information, it's like, very nice.
Neil gets introduced as like henchman number 2. And me and Heath weren't communicating that much early on, so he didn't have an idea that character would be as important as he came to be.
Yeah, so I think the reason Travis is mentioning that is because Neil showed up and I decided to give him like a vaguely kind of New Zealand Kiwi accent just because I hadn't used that one yet. And I was like, yeah, why not? And then, of course, later on, not knowing that later on we would have like kind of another main character, with a New Zealand accent mentioned in the text, very clearly. So it's that kind of thing. There's that, and some writers kind of, mention that more, and then others don't. There's also the thing that always makes me laugh is like Shade, who it says, they sound British, which is always the one that kind of cracked me up because it's like, well, yeah, them and some of the other 125 characters you had already written for me at that point.
So that actually answers one of the questions in the chat, which is how many named characters are there now?
Do you know, Travis?
I do not. I have a guy who works for me who's like building the bio. He could probably go through the database and figure that out.
Because I don't know if you know this, I've been doing recaps on my Patreon. So I'm up to book 3. So I've been doing like this kind of recaps, which means I've been kind of trawling over it. And I don't have a number, but there's at least 200.
Yeah,
because I can see that from my own notes. So there's certainly plenty.
It's a lot.
Because I didn't always make a note if someone showed up and was immediately killed. Said 2 things and then what's that over there, and then they were gone. But most characters I do have their name and then a recording of them, or some written notes. So yeah, there is a stack. But yeah, it's probably Neil. The other one was Dominion, only had like one line as a god, who only had 1 or 2 lines in the book they appeared in, and I did like a full kind of I am the, like a real
and then he
kind
shows
of
up for
like
conversations and,
he was just like Jason, you are right here. And then he showed up to have like a chat and a barbecue, which was fine. What I did was, and this was kind of not in the text, but it's one of those things where without changing anything, didn't change a word, get away with it. He sort of, he didn't have that voice. He had a much more casual voice, and then he dropped into that for one bit that kind of worked. So there was continuity of, this is how I sounded to you then, but this is how I sound to you now. But of course, you're a god. So if you're God, you can sound however you want to.
Yeah, well, it makes a lot of sense within the story because there's a lot of characters, especially Jason himself, who code switch. Like if Jason wants to be completely incomprehensible to people, you'll find him getting significantly more Australian.
Well, that's actually very similar to another question that I'm going to ask. I'm going to be all over the place here, but one of the things I was curious about was how has Jason's voice changed as he's ranked up, right? Like over the course of the 13 books. And it's probably, you could have more than one answer for this.
Yeah, I think it's complicated because there are intentional sort of changes, and then there's also the fact that I have aged to some extent, and there's also just that things kind of people re-listen to this because it's they like it so much, Travis, because you wrote such a fun thing, and meaningful. So people re-listen a lot, and people start again and they go, oh, I'm listening to book 1 and this voice sounds so different, like I can't, what happened there? But it's like, have you ever looked up the first Tracy Ullman Simpsons short with Dan Costello doing Homer? Like, it is unrecognizable. Like,
Bart's like a huge nerd.
Yeah, totally. Voices just really change. I saw Jeff was talking about doing the sort of Patrick Warburton impression that changed and evolved over the books for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and a similar kind of thing. So I listened to book 1 and I'm like, oh right, yeah, it was quite different in terms of voices for characters. Some of that is kind of because you sort of lean into it and things work and don't work, and so you sort of change it. I did try and once. Because with these characters, when it's like they're not supposed to necessarily need to breathe and stuff, if they're very high ranking, then I did try and be like, all right, well, I won't be out of breath unless it's like a choice for that character and things like that. So I think Jason can do a lot. Like he'll go quite Ochre, as you said, he'll go quite Australian, lean into it, and then other times less so. And I think the voice, he can kind of change a lot anyway, but I think it actually sounds probably sounds less sort of Australian, honestly, towards some of the earlier stuff as well. It's also that thing that sometimes when Australians or Scots or anyone is away from home, they get even more whatever their accent is. Like, it's this odd thing, you would think it wouldn't work that way, but it's that, like, lean into, to how you sound, or you hang around with Australians or whatever, and you suddenly you break back into that voice. So,
yeah.
So I've been popping up comments as they come on. Feel free to comment or not. We probably don't have time to get to all of these, but again, continue to put your questions in the chat. And I do have to get to this next one because this was an entertaining question from someone else in the community. Known to everyone as Seth McDuffie. And this was, and he wanted me to phrase it this way, Travis, unintentionally. This came from author Seth McDuffie, and it was written in angry script on the back of a Wendy's napkin. Okay, here we go. Remember when I rescued you from the plummeting wreckage of that midair dirigible collision? How come I never got a text back? A made it home safe would have sufficed. Guess I have to take this best friends forever bracelet back to the mall. Seth, how could you? I don't know. Do you want to answer that? Do you want to comment on that?
I have no idea what's going on there.
Okay. All right. That's so Seth McDuffie, he has written Big Sneaky Barbarian. He wrote Meet Your Maker with Jonathan McLean. Very funny dude, but I wasn't sure if there was a story behind this that we needed to hear. I'm just happy I read that out loud.
Last time I was on camera for this, I had a like a Hessian sack over my head because it was the Heart House Dungeons and Dragons thing, which will be on at LitRPG Con, and my character that I came up with, I decided, was wearing this like Hessian sack over their face. So it's actually, this is really nice to be able to see the screen and like I didn't have to. I went to start and I realized that I had to feed this in like under the rope tied around my neck that was holding the Hessian sack on. So this is much nicer. Seth was the DM. That's why I mentioned.
Oh yeah, yes,
he was the game master.
He also has a podcast too, and yeah. So, all right. So this one, I think there's a little more serious question from community member Jay Krause and successful author Jay Krause. If current book Jason were to meet book one Jason, how quickly would they end up in an argument, and which one would win?
Almost immediately. And definitely late series Jason. Early series Jason's a friggin' idiot. Like by design, but yeah.
Right.
There would be just like a very strong just flick to the forehead almost immediately.
Yeah.
No, early series Jason is an absolute muppet, and he was meant to be. Like, I went in knowing I was going to be writing, a goodly no. I didn't know how many books it'd wind out to be, but I knew it'd be a lot. So I wanted there to be plenty of room for character growth. So I needed him to be nice and flawed so he could start working through them. I mean, he's still breathtakingly flawed later on. At least at this point, he has the virtues of his vices. Whereas, early on, he was just all talk, no practical experience.
Yeah, I mean, he was figuring things out.
I've done one semester of political science. It really hurt.
Yeah. Well, anytime I hear the name Jason now, I hear Heath's voice say Jason. And we have another we have a really interesting question in chat. I'm going to pop it up here. And this is from, I think Nissa baby from Denmark, by the way, who's chiming in here. The characters don't need to breathe after ranking up, which means that speaking no longer requires air. Is all sound then magical, and do they speak underwater?
As I recall, Jason actually has to work on getting his voice functioning again, somewhere around book 2 or 3. Basically, it still works by vibrating the air. They just have to essentially do that magically. I mean, they can breathe and do. It's probably a bit too complex to go into here, but it's to do with psychosomatic effects, the ability to modulate their own physiology sort of actively and unconsciously. So they might get physiological conditions they don't need anymore, like crying and sighing and that sort of stuff, but they still do it. Like there's actually some really interesting psychology around the need of human beings to sigh. And that's, as much like mental as physiological.
And I messed up the username. So this question actually comes from someone named Nicholas. So sorry about that. I always screw up usernames. It's my fault. All right, I'm going to go to the next question. This one is from Aaron Renfro, who is kind of a Renaissance person in the community, author. He's created LitRPG tools for everybody to use. He writes in multiple genres. This question is, Jason is a very non-traditional LitRPG hero in that curses do most of his damage. Did you find that path making it the path that he's on making it much harder to keep the fights interesting in later books?
No, just the opposite. I had Jason's sort of powers and his methodologies laid out right from the beginning, sort of all the way through to the end. Using the sort of dot damage approach, the damage over time, serves a few functions narratively. The biggest one being it means that a fight can just build up. You don't have the sort of the classic anime two guys going past each other, one falls down, which is essentially a sword version of the shootout at high noon from the Western genre. Basically, he has to sort of slowly work his way up through a fight. And that is actually a pretty easy way to build drama. And as he goes up in rank, and his abilities take on sort of a very Old Testament almost sort of narrative, where the start of a fight, it's all sin and curses and unholy powers, and then there's sort of that pivot moment where he takes away the sin and replaces it with a thing called penance. So basically his fighting is a story of transgressing against him and then redemption or penance through judgment and death, which is not very nice as power sets go. But it was structured specifically to be able to make for dramatic fights. So Jason really can't just walk up and go split to people unless they're all significantly weaker than he is. In which case you don't really, look for high amounts of drama in that fight anyway.
Heath, feel free to chime in anytime.
No, I love listing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have a question for both of you, and I don't want to forget to ask it. It's not on my list of questions, but so Travis, your books are now in bookstores, which is so cool. And I don't know how long they've been in bookstores, but I see them. And
late April.
Yeah, I thought it was fairly recently. And some of the other folks that I'm talking with, Ryan Rimmel is one of them who is also having, his books in brick and mortar stores now, has required Jonathan McLean to re-record from, I think they were doing books 1, 2, and 3 to start. So re-record them. So it made for some interesting conversations about how, the voices there have changed. And I'm wondering, Heath, Travis, are you guys re-recording anything based on this, or are you, can you talk about that a little bit?
No, as far as I am aware, there's no re-recordings going on.
Yeah.
There is going to be like a little bit of extra content for each book, but thus far they're just exclusive to the hardcovers.
Okay.
Heath is going to do a reading of the one from book 1. Yeah, I bought
this from my local Target. Very exciting.
I have the Target edition sitting there. I've actually
not Target. Barnes and Noble, of course. That one. Right. The Target one's ordered.
Yes, there are 4 different versions. I've got them all sitting on my desk there. It'll be interesting if you get to the book 3 one. Because that one has like some characters from book 1 in it. So
okay.
So I'm curious, why are they re-recording? Is it because they've changed the text so significantly?
According to Jonathan, when we talked, and it's interesting to him because, like we talked about, he's aged through that, and so the voices have kind of naturally changed a lot. And in his case, he actually, before COVID, he would go into private studios and record, and then during COVID, he made it at home studio, and he lost access to the original files. So after like around book 3, the voices and Badgelor came in around that time, the voices changed significantly and they're re-recording. So I wasn't sure, but I wanted to ask just to be sure.
Because Heath has aged. So if we end up doing re-recordings, I am just going to be pumping some like highly diluted helium into his booth.
I just
to lighten him up. And then as he goes through the story and the character's age, I'll just dilute it more and more until it gets back to baseline.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to go.
I say me. I'll have a person do it. I'm not going to go there.
So you're actually, Heath, you're hosting a panel, basically almost first thing Friday morning. So Travis has a panel. I'm looking at this. Travis has a panel you're on at 9 a.m. It's called Welcome Home Adventurers. And then at 10:30 a.m. at LitRPG Con on Friday, Heath, you're moderating a panel called This Character's Voice Was a Mistake at Chapter 3, huh? And so I expect some helium there at that panel. Can we make that happen? Yeah.
Legally, probably not.
Yeah, right.
You know, if I start buying large canisters of gas and trying to take them into the
Put them in
United
your
States,
checked luggage. They'll love that.
I think they will kick me back out again immediately.
Sure, you could probably get some in Denver, but all right. Let me get to the serious question here. So and this author is in chat. SC Culligan. So Corey, thanks for being here. This question comes from you, and he sent it to me ahead of time here. So I'm going to be very careful how I read this one, because there are some serious spoilers in it, and I'm okay with little baby spoilers. So I'm going to reword this one. Every once in a while, when you're, especially in a 13 book series, characters die, and sometimes they're important characters. So, Corey, how am I doing on this so far? Being careful to tiptoe here. And in some cases, they're very epic, according to Corey. And I'm wondering if this has affected you when you wrote that, Travis, and when you had to read it, Heath.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, I think if you can't affect yourself emotionally when you're writing, you're not going to be able to affect your readers emotionally. Yeah, going through that was probably the hardest thing to write. It's the thing I probably stopped the most while I was like working on it and had to go back to it after a bit. But it was also very important to happen. Like, I mean, this was a character who had sort of reached the culmination of their story. Sorry, just reading the comment there. But yeah, they had reached the culmination of the story. And also, like, it's a story that very much plays around with the tools of gods. Like, you know, creation of universe, life and death, immortality, resurrection. And when you're playing with things on that level, it's very easy to lose stakes in things like death. So one of the things that was very important to me was making sure that it does have a sense of, you know, here are the stakes, here are the limitations of all this thing. It's not just a resurrection fest. You know, sometimes, you know, the stakes are all the way, and sometimes, you know, it really matters. And that was a big part of that. But also, yeah, it was, you know, it was a point where a character had sort of reached the end of their path. They'd sort of culminated their journey. It's like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is all about killing off characters, but it's, while it has this reputation for just murdering people left and right, it doesn't. Like, you know, it's about the culmination of character arcs. Like, yeah, there's lots of deaths, but those deaths serve, like, you know, the story. They're not just there for shock value.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a conversation with the author the other day about a short story he's there writing, and he said, yeah, by the end I'm gonna red wedding everyone. And I'm like, oh geez, okay, I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, nobody was worried about Arya getting killed off.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, we've had a lot of great comments in here about this topic, and one of them I'm going to pop up again, and maybe we can get Heath's comments on this question about that particular thing. Did you get choked up?
Yeah, although the thing with the vocal performance is, there's no camera. If I can't make words, it's useless. It's serves no function. So for things that I find affecting as a voice actor, my task is to keep that at bay, because if I just start crying, then I'm no longer being of any use. If I'm not getting the words out, this is an audiobook, so there's no camera. If I'm not getting the words out, then what I'm doing is pointless. And any emotion is, and I mean, even screen acting and on stage, like I had a teacher who used to say, like, you don't want to be like a pot of boiling water frothing and bubbling. You want to be the lid on the pot, just kind of.
Oh, that's good.
And that's so, like, really the challenge for me is always, this is affecting me. I need to keep it together so I can get the performance out. And so, yeah, it's that. So you'll be especially frustrated if a fucking plane goes overhead or something, because you're like, this is, when it's happening for me in real time, and now something has happened and I have to, like reset and do it again. My recollection of, I think, the particular character death that we're discussing without discussing is that it went through pretty much nothing interrupted me. I didn't make many mistakes, and like nothing. The power didn't go out, plane didn't fly over, anything like that. So it was really just trying to get through it, and get to the end. So then I could have a sob.
Yeah. Listen to the professionalism there. That's those chops he built up doing ship to shore.
Well, you guys, we're nearing. I promised you about 30 minutes, and that's what we're trying to stick to. Okay, we're over that already, but I do have. I want to ask. I want to ask one more question, and then if you can be thinking about what you have coming out, and so we can tell everybody kind of important dates. Obviously, LitRPG Con, we could talk about that if you want to talk about any sort of panels that you're excited for, where we can find you online. So be thinking about that, if you will. And I had one. I normally I get to ask way more plot questions, but your story does an interesting thing with kind of world hopping. And again, I won't go into it too much, but I'm wondering, like, how difficult was that when Jason hopped worlds with kind of the LitRPG aspects? Do you see where I'm going with that, Travis?
Yeah, no, that wasn't hard at all, because it was all in the plan. Like, so I understood how the mechanics worked. Like with my world building, in terms of like the system, the mechanics of the magic, I tweaked things in here and there as I went, but broadly speaking, I had everything down before I even started, which meant that I didn't have to like retcon or come up with answers to questions as I was going. I had those answers, and I can concentrate on character and plot and theme and the actual writing stuff. Like that's the strength of outlining. Like, everyone's somewhere on the sort of pantser plotter spectrum. My natural position is in the pantser thing. I've forced myself in the other direction, because otherwise I do not finish books. And once I did that, I started finishing books.
Well, I once heard, and people who listen to the podcast have heard me say this before. I once heard somebody say that there's no such thing as writer's block with an outline. And I, you can really analyze that. You could have a whole podcast on that.
No, I completely, like, I just generally don't believe in writer's block. There is just so many tools you can use.
Right.
But part of that comes from the fact that, I did go to university and study creative writing. So, I got taught, a lot of the techniques for sort of moving past that. Whereas people who are coming at this completely blank in an amateur space, it's good that there's so many people, that the community is so strong that people can ask questions like, I've got some writer's block. What do I do about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, I popped a comment up here just so you could see that. People I wanted you to see it before I I didn't want that to slip by. Some really nice things people are saying here in the chat. Sometimes I get distracted by the comments. I apologize. So we have reached our time, and I want to be respectful of both of your time. It flew by, didn't it? Just very quickly.
Absolutely.
But we get to see more of you at LitRPG Con. So now is your turn to do some talking. If you'd like, can be brief, can be long. It's up to you. Let's start with Heath. So tell us what you have coming out here.
Sure. I'll be at I'm a guest of honor at PortCon in Portland, Maine, in another 10 days or so. So that's like 3 days there. If anyone's in the vicinity, they can come down, and I'm doing some stuff there. LitRPG Con, obviously, where I will be there on some panels and doing some other fun things, including with Travis. And then I've got 2 dates on Travis's wonderful book tour. I get to be there for 2 of those. So that's exciting, the DC one and the Chicago one. But yeah, so there's that. Discord, I got a Discord, I got a Patreon. If you Google my name and the word Patreon or the word Discord, you will find that stuff. And I'm on TikTok. I'm kind of very easy to find online. So yeah, I have been doing these recaps of monsters, actually. Funny it worked out that way, because obviously they've been with, Travis's recovery. There was sort of a longer pause between. So I was concerned that, I was sort of losing having it at my fingertips. So I've been doing these kind of recaps where I summarize what happens in a book and kind of do behind the scenes and kind of talk about things, or just my favorite chapter titles and stuff like that, just shit like that. So I'm doing that on Patreon. So yeah, come find me online and keep me company. I stream recording sometimes, and I'll probably be streaming some of 13 when I'm recording that in August, September, whenever. So yeah.
Very good.
That's it.
Very good. I'm excited. I've been looking at some of these panel titles, and I'm very excited to actually get to sit in the panels this time and hear. So this will be fun. Travis,
I'm looking forward. LitRPG Con, because it's a chance, because it's just for LitRPG. That means we get to skip those panels that are like, what is LitRPG, and we can start actually delving into some of the actual more nuanced areas, and that's terrific.
Nice. And do they have you scheduled up pretty like a couple panels a day?
I'm doing 2 panels a day, I believe. I'm doing a few signings. I'm signed up for just to play board games with people.
Oh, that's great.
So that's going to be great. So my July, a little bit of August is going to be extremely busy. I'll be at LitRPG Con. I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. I'll be at Gen Con. I'll be doing a whole bunch of tour events. I'll be doing events with some great authors. The author of Mark of the Fool.
Oh, yeah.
Heath, a few others. It's going to be terrific. It's going to be busy. I'm going to be in an airport every second or third day, but it's going to be good stuff. If people want to sort of look out, participate in my communities, then Discord's probably the best place. It's not hard to find. If you go to my Royal Road page on my Patreon, there's links to that. Patreon would be my other big spot to find me. Yeah.
Well.
And occasionally I'll pop up on Reddit. Like I started some beef with the author of Chrysalis over his preferred choice of Voltron the other day. Which I did not approve.
Oh no, Voltron! Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, he's a vehicle Voltron guy, and he's going to die on that hill, and it's not okay.
You guys are buddies, though, right? Tell us.
Yes,
your buddies.
he was. Yeah, when you were doing Haylock's podcast while he was here. Me and Ryan were in the other room.
Yeah. And yeah, so Haylock was actually in the room that you're sitting in now, I believe. And unlike that day, I can't quite see what's written on that whiteboard behind you. Is there a reason for that?
That's because I blurred it.
Yeah.
No. Currently, it's actually a to-do list of things before I go away this weekend.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I am so 2 comments before we go. The first is I am surprised that Clive hasn't come up much. I'm surprised nobody gave me a question about Clive or Clive's wife, rather. It did kind of come up in the comments a little bit. People were commenting on that. If you want to know more about Clive, come to LitRPG Con. I'm sure it will come up. Everybody lines up behind the microphone after the panels and asks questions. And Clive's wife came up last time, so there's that. And I wanted to just say thank you, Travis. I've been kind of messaging you throughout the day just because we're on very different, parts of the world. And I don't think you slept last night as far as like seeing your chat status in Discord. So thank you for being with us.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, it's currently about 11 o'clock in the morning here, and it's probably time I hit the hammock.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't know. I've got a lot of writing to do this week.
Well, good luck there. And the last thing I'll say is Corey is saying that everybody in the chat here, he's buying everybody's first drink. Is that right, Corey? I'm just kidding. But thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
And I'm very excited to see you guys in Denver.
Okay. See you then.
All right.